Hey everyone, so it's been a while. I don't actually think anyone remembers me, and I missed the buzz of Act 4 of The Baby in Yellow coming out, which isn't very good, but I wanted to come on here today to do a character study of Casilda. So, Act 4 essentially suggested that Casilda was just another cult member. However, I disagree. All of Act 1 set up Casilda as a main character, and Acts 1 to 3 were all based in Casilda's apartment. I do believe that there's significance to this. My first piece of evidence is the recording in Casilda's apartment in which a man, presumably a babysitter, states we spoke of Hastur and Casilda in their absence. Hastur is the king. By stating Hastur and Casilda's names together, it suggests a sense of union, as if Casilda is held to a standard of high importance. Furthermore, in the book The King in Yellow, which the game is tightly based around, Casilda is the one who created the alternate dimension called Carcosa. For those who don't know what Carcosa is, it's another realm in which the victims there are to take care of the babies infinitely until they then sacrifice their souls to the king and the tree. You might be saying how the Casilda in the games is different to the book, which granted is a fair assumption considering Act 4. However, let's pay closer attention to detail in the apartment. We know that Casilda wrote and illustrated the books we read to the baby, so let's use these books and interpret them in context. The first time we hear of Casilda in the nighttime stories is in the second nighttime story. She described herself as being the baby's loving, caring mother. I do believe that this has symbolism with Alice Pickman. No, I'm not just being crazy because I'm her #1 fan. Hear me out on this one. The opening of the book presents the baby looking down on a white rabbit who looks terrified. I will be basing my next ideas off of Alice being the white rabbit. If you want more information on that, then watch my video on Alice Pickman's whereabouts, and then come back to this. We know that at some point, Alice Pickman must have had a lapse in consciousness during her descent into madness. This is shown as she boarded away her shrine, scribbled out all the lyrics, and ripped the final music sheet before disappearing. This suggests she feared the king and implies that she wants to run away from the cult and the king. This matches the storybook. We know that both Alice and Casilda knew each other because Alice made a song for Casilda. Since Casilda was still a part of the cult up until being presumably murdered, which took place after Alice disappeared, there was likely a buildup of tension between the two. This is supported by the book on Casilda's shelf titled Reputations and How to Repair Them. Casilda may have ruined her reputation with Alice and wants to repair it. That begs the question, if Alice has already disappeared, why is Casilda still trying to repair her reputation? It's because Casilda knows Alice is the white rabbit, and that's why she was presented as such in the storybook. Okay, sorry, that was an Alice Pickman detour. However, it's not my fault that all roads lead to Alice Pickman. Anyways, moving on. The next storybook the mother is mentioned in provides more evidence that Casilda made Carcosa. The baby requests for his mother to bring the sheep to him. This links to the previous storybook in which the white rabbit ran away from the baby, and so Casilda said she'd bring him more friends. We can presume that the sheep is the new friend. Now, on the bookshelf we looked at previously, there was another book that interested me. The Lake of Hali, a visitor's guide. The Lake of Hali is described as being impossible to circumnavigate. Travelers will always return to Carcosa. If the book is suggesting Casilda has been to the Lake of Hali, then that means she is in Carcosa currently, which means that the apartment itself and its surroundings are also Carcosa. With this in mind, we can take in the rest of Casilda's apartment as intentional lore drops. So when observing these books here, speak no cooking, hear no cooking, see no cooking. This is a reference to the Buddhist maxim, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. This is a reference to the Buddhist maxim, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. This is stated to encourage individuals to remain detached from wrongdoing and avoid engaging with negative behaviors or thoughts. This may once again be a reference to Alice Pickman, as Casilda is ignoring Alice Pickman, helping people escape Carcosa. This may be why Casilda was killed in the intro to Act 3, since she was allowing for people to escape Carcosa. When looking at this shelf, what stands out to you? The most out-of-place item there is the king chess piece. This is likely a reference to the King in Yellow. If we assume that the hierarchy of the cult operates on a similar base to chess, then we can assume that there's all the other pieces present. Let's identify them. So obviously, the king piece is the king. This is the most important piece in chess, and you must protect the king at all costs. This may be why we have never seen the king properly in the game, because he's too significant to lose. The queen piece. I know some people may think this is Ambrose, but considering everything I've stated about Casilda, I will say Casilda is the queen piece. She's the most powerful attacking piece on the chessboard, as she created Carcosa and is used to defend the king. The rook would be Ambrose. The rook is considered to be excellent to use towards the end if a game of chess. That's why Ambrose is only playing a role towards the end. The bishop piece in chess is used in long-range attacks. This fits for the cat, as she spent a long time manipulating Nicholas Arkham and even fooled many people who played the game. The knights would be the babies produced by the tree. They're the strongest at the center of the board. That's why they are the most prominent villains from Act 2 to 3, which is considered the middle center of the entirety of the game. The pawns would then, of course, be all the members of the cult. I think that's self-explanatory. I'll go into all of this in more depth and what it means for the future of the baby in yellow and how it may end in a later video. This is all for now, and I hope you enjoyed all my thoughts on Casilda, her relationships, and significance to the story. Let me know what you think about everything I've said in the comments, whether you agree or disagree, and any other topics you may want me to talk about in later videos. This is all for now. Have a great day or night.